Imagine a cold evening in the 1980s. A young girl named Heather reaches for her father's work jacket hanging by the door. It's a dark blue satin coat, scented with her dad's aftershave and heavy with the dust of a long day's work. To Heather, it was a shield against the chill as she went outside to feed her pet rabbits. She loved that jacket. She loved the way it felt and the way it reminded her of her father, Roland. But hidden within the fibers of that coat, and the gray-white dust that covered it, was a silent killer that would wait decades to strike. That dust was asbestos. At the time, Heather had no idea that her father's construction work was bringing a deadly carcinogen into their home. She was just a child seeking warmth. Fast forward to 2005. Heather was 36 years old and living a full life in Minnesota. She was a hairdresser, a business owner, and most importantly, a first-time mother. But shortly after her son was born via C-section, something felt wrong. While most new moms expect exhaustion, Heather felt a weight she couldn't explain. She described it as feeling like a truck was parked on her chest. She was constantly fatigued and plagued by mysterious fevers. She tried to push through it, standing behind her salon chair all day and caring for her newborn all night. But her body was failing. The turning point came when her husband took a photo of her napping with her baby on the couch. When Heather's sister saw the picture, she didn't see a peaceful moment, she saw a woman who looked like she was dying. She called Heather in a panic, urging her to see a doctor immediately. That phone call likely saved her life. A series of tests and a CT scan revealed a terrifying reality: a tumor was growing near her lung. Within 2 weeks, the diagnosis was confirmed as pleural mesothelioma. It is an aggressive, rare form of lung cancer almost exclusively caused by asbestos exposure. When the doctor asked if anyone in her family had worked with asbestos, the memory of that blue satin jacket came rushing back. The prognosis was grim. Doctors told Heather that without radical intervention, she had perhaps 15 months to live. She was a new mother with a baby who hadn't even seen his first Christmas, and she was being told her time was up. But Heather refused to accept that fate. She and her husband flew to Boston to meet with a specialist willing to perform a surgery so radical it sounded like science fiction. In February 2006, Heather underwent the hardest day of her life. Surgeons removed her entire left lung, a rib, the lining of her heart, and her diaphragm. They replaced her heart lining and diaphragm with surgical Gore-Tex. It was a brutal, invasive procedure that left her body forever changed. Following the surgery, she underwent a pioneering treatment known as heated chemotherapy. Doctors circulated warmed cancer-killing drugs through her chest cavity, a process they nicknamed the shake and bake because they literally rocked her body back and forth to ensure the drugs reached every microscopic cell. This was followed by 4 rounds of traditional chemotherapy and 30 sessions of radiotherapy. The physical toll was immense. Heather found herself in hospital rooms surrounded by men in their 70s and 80s, the typical demographic for this disease. She felt alone, scared, and breathless. Yet, against every statistical probability, the treatment worked. Heather didn't just survive 15 months, she survived 20 years. Today, Heather is a living miracle, but her survival comes with a cost. Living with one lung means she gets winded easily. She can't run, she struggles with long flights of stairs, and she deals with chronic issues like a frozen shoulder and limited movement in her hand. She relies on her son, now a young man, to help with heavy lifting and physical tasks. Tragically, her father Roland passed away in 2014 from kidney cancer, which doctors believe may have also been linked to his years of asbestos exposure. Heather has turned her pain into a purpose. She now travels the world as a patient advocate, speaking to those who have just received the same terrifying diagnosis she did 2 decades ago. She represents a legacy of hope, proving that while the medical journey is grueling, survival is possible. When she was diagnosed, there was only one real path for treatment. Today, thanks to survivors like her and advances in medicine, there are many more options. Heather remains shocked that she is still here to tell her story, but she uses every breath from her remaining lung to remind others that even when the odds are stacked against you, there is always a reason to fight.